Coach, the entire defensive secondary, I believe, was named champions this week or co-MVPs. Could you talk about kind of the level they're playing at right now in preparation of facing a pretty great quarterback in Connor Cook this coming Saturday?
Yeah, well, the whole defense received championship honors here this weekend just because of how we played on defense. It's a real testament to the way the guys have bought into what we're trying to do and the silver bullet philosophy. I think overall defensively, all 11 guys and even some of the backups are playing at a high level. It's hard to point out any individual, any specific group. I just think all of us together are playing well.
Chris, would you guys spend any time looking at the backup quarterback, or do you just expect that it'll be Cook out there and nothing would change?
Oh, Cook will play. I mean, he's a competitor. He'll play. They have had several snaps of a backup quarterback in there. They've played a lot with two quarterbacks out on the field, and you know they got some similarities, but they have differences, and we'll be ready with whoever's out there.
When Cook's out there, what makes him special in your opinion? As Urban Meyer said, he's a winner on top of everything else. But what just sets him apart a little bit?
Well, he's got a very strong arm. He can make all the throws. He's athletic enough to avoid pressure also. Understands their system, understands defenses, gets them in and out of plays, reads coverages well. I mean, you name it, what you want in your quarterback, you pretty much see that in him.
Mm-hmm. Chris, you've been associated with a lot of defenses. Is this defensive front you've got, Urban Meyer was referring to them, being quite disruptive. I mean, he thinks it's playing as well as maybe any front in the country. What do you see that too, and what just stands out about your defensive front right now?
Oh, you see the front getting better every week as we move forward through the season. You see a front that's developing more and more depth also. That's very critical to our success as we go down the stretch here. But they are disruptive. They are making plays both in the run game and in the pass game. And it's exciting to see. It makes everybody else's job easier. It makes the linebacker fits easier because there's cleaner pictures. And then it obviously helps in the secondary and the pass defense because we're getting to the quarterback and putting pressure on the quarterback.
That's what I was going to follow with. Raekwon, I mean, is he, compared to this time a year ago, how far along has he come? I mean, just from a play recognition standpoint, fitting the gaps, et cetera.
It's not even close. I mean, he was still a freshman last year. He was splitting time with Curtis Grant. He's gotten all the reps here this year. Completely different player, much more confident player, a faster player, understands our defense a lot more, getting to the ball a lot quicker. So to compare him to last year, I mean, it's not even the same kid.
Chris, does it allow you to game plan any differently with the defense when you can expect that your defensive line is going to be disruptive?
It helps. I think every defensive coach out there would, if you're going to build your defense, you would want to start up front and build it from the inside out with the defensive line being first. And, fortunately here, in my 2 years here, we've had a pretty disruptive defensive line, and that has been continuing here as we go through the season. It's getting better. But, yeah, I mean, it makes everything a little bit easier if you know that you can hold the point and you can get after the quarterback.
How big a turning point was winning last year there?
No, I mean, that was a big game. This will be a big game. That was a big game that was on the road. I think there were a lot of players in this program that wanted they might not say it, but wanted a little bit of a revenge from the Big Ten championship game a year ago. So there was a little added incentive. But right now, at this point in the season, every game's a big game. It doesn't matter who's lined up across the other side of the field. These guys are a good team. We're highly motivated. We got a lot of things to be excited about going out and playing, and at the end of the day, it's about us going out and just showing that we're getting better from week to week.
Is there always a danger in a big game of overthinking it?
Oh, absolutely. Well, the thing I think that's really cool here is when you go to Ohio State, you play in a lot of big games. Everybody's going to give you their best shot. And I think that the thing that we have a champion, in my opinion, we have a championship routine that we go through each week. Our preparation from our meetings to our walkthroughs to our practice to our film review, our kids buy into what we're doing and how we do our business and our process to get to Saturday. So that's not going to change just because we're playing Michigan State this week. It is what it is. Our process. No, our process allows us to have success every Saturday, and our kids believe in that. Our coaches believe in that.
Chris, specifically with Joey, what does it do when you have a player commanding triple teams the way that he seems to?
Well, somebody else better be free, whether it be in the run game or in the pass rush. When he's getting three guys on him, you got 3 one-on-ones with other guys, so somebody else better get free.
It looks kind of funny on film to see 3 guys surrounding just one guy. Have you seen a lot of that throughout your coaching career?
No, I can't say that I've been fortunate enough to coach a player that's been like Joe. I think the other one was J.J. Watt when we were at Wisconsin. He received a lot of that same attention that Joey does. So that's the only other player I've been around that has that kind of effect on an offense.
Does he? you know, he hates being compared to JJ, or at least he doesn't like it. Let's put it that way. I'm going to say hate, but does he, in some respects, remind you of JJ Watt just from the disruption standpoint, from the attention he gets?
Yeah, absolutely. There are a lot of
Is that
similarities.
deserving, I
Well,
guess?
yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot of. I mean, JJ's obviously a great player, and he's proven it at the next level.
Yeah.
Joey's going to, in my opinion, going to do the same. I mean, you see the path that JJ's been, or Joey's been on here in the last year and a half, and the improvement that he's made just throughout this season. It's been tremendous, and he's very disruptive. They're both different players, but they have some similar characteristics, and they both garner a lot of attention from the opponent.
And I was going to ask you, it just seems like every time Michigan State kind of gets in a fix offensively, I'm not saying every time, I've watched every game, but Burbridge, their wide receiver, Aaron Burbridge, appears to be the receiver of choice and stuff, and as we get him. What stands out when you watch him on video?
Well, I think their offense is like most good offenses. If they're in a funk, they rely on one of their best players to make a play. And they're no different than what we are. If our offense is in a funk, you know, somebody's waiting for Zeke Elliott to make a play, Mike Thomas to make a play. Somebody's going to make a play. Braxton Miller's going to make a play. It's no different for Michigan State. They have good players on the offense, and if it may not be going the way they scripted it, they're going to rely on somebody to make a big play, and he happens to be a guy they go to a lot.
Yeah, and what just jumps out at you?
He's a very good receiver. I mean, he's athletic. He can go up and jump over you. He can run around you. He can stop and start on a dime, and he's a tremendous receiver that we're going to have to pay special attention to and make sure that he can't make all the big plays he's been making.
Is Michigan State the best offense you will faced?
Probably, yeah. I mean, we've, in my opinion, we've faced some decent offenses, different style of offenses, teams that can run, teams that can pass. This is probably the most balanced football offense that we're going to see. You got a quarterback, they can run the ball with a good offensive line. They've got good receivers.
You've been so superior athletically to most of the teams you played, and now you're playing a team
That's your opinion, but
I mean,
go
I
ahead.
think most people,
Yeah.
Now you're playing a team that obviously is comparable to you.
Mhm.
How much concern is there, if there is concern, that okay, are we ready for this challenge? Have we been prepared for this challenge?
Yeah, there's no issues about us being prepared for this challenge. This program is set up for training our players for moments like this, so there's no concern about whether we're going to be ready or not. This team will be ready. Is the margin for error a lot smaller when you face another talented team? Absolutely. You can't make some of the mistakes that you can against other teams and expect to get away with them and come out on the winning side of the game, but our players will be ready, and they've been trained for moments like this.
Chris, how much of an effort do you put into seeing if Connor Cook is healthy? I mean, because it just seems very antithetical to the nature of a coach to want to guess on something like that.
Yeah, we're not wasting a lot of time. He's going to be there. We know that. That's not really a concern of ours. If he's not, you know, we'll move on and we'll have a plan for whoever is in there. But we're planning as he will be there, and we're not going to waste a lot of time worrying about whether he's not.
Because, I mean, when you guys faced Indiana, the guys afterwards said the wrinkle with Xander Demont coming in threw them a little bit. Do you have to be ready for wrinkles?
Yeah, I wouldn't say that would be an accurate statement. We missed a tackle on him that went for a big play. The scheme that we had employed for him, the call that we were in was great. We missed a tackle. If you're going to miss tackles, I don't care who's at quarterback, you're not going to have a chance for success. So, again, we'll be ready for who's ever there.
Chris,
Yep.
what about their running game? They've been kind of unsettled at running back, it seems like, and L.J. Scott's our leading rusher.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on their rushing game?
I think they're still a run-first offense. They got a good offensive line. I know some of the players have been in and out, and they've kind of had a different lineup because of injuries, but I think it looks like they're starting to get their best players back, and they're going to have a good, solid offensive line, and those running backs are good players, and they'll try to get the running game going against us.
L.J. Scott, is he presenting kind of special?
Yeah, he's a big back. I mean, we were well aware of L.J. here when he was at high school. He's a big back with good feet, good speed. He can beat you around the edge. He can run through you. So he's a load, and we're going to have to do a great job against him.
Coach, Connor Cook hasn't thrown a second-half interception yet this season. He's a guy who takes care of the ball really well, it seems like, for Michigan State. The defense seems to be predicated on generating turnovers. How tough a challenge would that be to kind of turn the ball over against a guy like that?
Every week it's a challenge to try to create takeaways, and that's what we want to try to do every week. And you know, I would assume, you know, if he doesn't have any interceptions in the second half, that's not something they probably have designed it to be that way. I'm sure they don't want to have any interceptions throughout the whole course of the game, just like we want to get takeaways throughout the whole course of the game. It's something we work on all the time.
I mean, do you see him as exceptional in that regard? As someone
No, I mean, he's a very good player regardless of first half or second half. I mean, why did he make interceptions in the first half or throw some in the first half and not in the second half? I couldn't tell you, to be honest with you, from all the film I've watched, but it's probably not anything they want to have happen.
Hey, Chris, with how deep Ohio is with high school talent, obviously you guys just said you were aware of LJ when he was in high school and whatnot. How tough is it to play a team like Michigan State, not from like an X's and O's standpoint, but to see so many familiar faces that either you guys didn't have room for in your class or got out of Ohio or in general, because there's going to be a lot of people on that team that you guys once had relationships with?
Yeah, well, I've been in that situation before, and on the other side of it, where I've been at a place where you take some players out of another state and you try to use that as motivation. They didn't want you or whatever, and they've been able to come into Ohio and they've taken some really good players that have ended up being great players for them and gone on to the NFL and whatever. But at the end of the day, it's not about Ohio players versus Ohio State. It's us just going out and doing our job. But do they sometimes maybe use that as extra motivation and initially in the game have a little extra juice? Probably.
Chris, I'm sorry, real quick. You've had Damon Webb back for a couple of weeks now.
2 weeks, yes.
How comfortable are you in that nickel package now?
We're a lot more comfortable today than we would have been, 2 weeks ago when he played against Minnesota. He's just about completely healthy, not 100% yet, but close. He's knocked some rust off that he had from being out for a few weeks, so we're pretty comfortable right now today.
Great. Coach, thank you very much.
Yep. Thank you, guys.